What's up, to me, Kevin? Just here to talk about some new Hobbit developments that have come up since the London premiere of The Hobbit, The Battle of Five Armies yesterday that I had been watching. And then relating to the development is basically about Ian McKellen, and that there's also a video I want to talk about that's completely not related, but it's about The Hobbit. Ian McKellen, he had actually said something at the premiere that a lot of news sites are running with. If you don't already know, basically from Facebook, that Ian McKellen had believed, and I'm summarizing what he said. He basically believed that there are more Ring films, and that The Hobbit, The Battle of Five Armies, is not the end of it, end of the whole Tolkien mythos, at least from what Warner Brothers owns of the whole franchise. Being that obviously they don't believe, or they don't own the Silmarillion, which is like the prequel to The Hobbit, or prequels to pretty much everything, because it is like the Bible. It explains how Middle Earth came to be and all that, and all the races come over from Arnor and all, not Arnor, Numenor and Valinor and all that. Like it's a very rich material, which could probably span 2 or 3 trilogies, seriously. But that Ian McKellen believed that there's more Ring films coming, and it's like how is that possible? And he says this, that's cool. And I think in generalizing that statement, he said, yes, there's more than possibility that we will see more Ring films. It just won't be by Peter Jackson directing it. I still believe he'll produce it if it's made in the next 10 years, at some point. But like I said, it's either the Silmarillion or they're basically taking half of them, taking something from the appendices of either the Return of the King or somewhere there. But I just don't like that Ian McKellen said this. Like I like his enthusiasm on it, and that yes, I believe there's more Ring films coming, but it's gonna be a long time. It's gonna be longer than 10 years unless Warner Brothers is able to tie up Peter Jackson to produce something, or they get the Silmarillion, the rights going with that, like something like that. But Ian McKellen had said this, and a lot of news sites are running with this, and it's pissing me off because this is the end. Like I don't know where else Warner Brothers could go. I did have this conversation with a good friend of mine at work who has read the Silmarillion, which I have actually not. Like I know the generalized idea of what the book is about, and it's spanned over like obviously several thousand years before the events of Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, stuff like that. But even he thought, yeah, it's possible, but Warner Brothers does not own the rights to anything pre The Hobbit. Like there might be some references to what happens in the Silmarillion, which is it could possibly in the Return of the King they explain something, but they still can't use any of that because I don't think there's enough material in the Return of the King appendices to use to kind of make some kind of Silmarillion movie, and then they get sued because they can't use that title. So I'm just making that clear to I'm trying to make it clear to a few people on Facebook, friends of mine, and also people on comments saying, and they're saying, oh, they'll just milk the Silmarillion, like these movies have made lots of money, and that Warner Bros. Will just make a movie out of Silmarillion. They don't own the rights to the movie. They don't own the rights at all to the Silmarillion. They don't own the rights at all. So yes, at some point possibly, but I think at least from its little few interviews that Christopher Tolkien, which is the son of J.R.R. Tolkien, he said he doesn't like the films at all that Peter Jackson has done, and that probably that book will go with him until he's dead, and then maybe there's some point, but that could be I don't know, 5, 10, 20 years, like I don't know. So I just don't like Ian McKellen said this. I really wish he would have said, there's possible maybe 5 or 10 or 15 years down the road, it's possible. But at this point, no. Like unless Warner Brothers really wants to kiss Christopher Tolkien's ass just to get the right to make the films for the Silmarillion, and also drag Peter Jackson back into this. Like Peter Jackson loves this universe. I guess we're ranting like in my last video on this, but he loves this universe, but even he knows when he has to walk away from it. I'm sure if they do make a Silmarillion, or they tie up, or they fix the issues, or whatever you want to call it, with the Tolkien estate, and they do movies with Silmarillion, and it's within the next 10, 15 years, then I'm all on board for Peter Jackson to come back and produce and maybe co-write, but don't direct it. Because I really think, as Peter Jackson, I think really what he says by I'm not returning to this, is that he's not returning to direct another film. I really think he'll be involved, because I think Warner Brothers won't risk making another Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, mythos, what do you want to call it, universe, being like, making a movie for the Silmarillion or whatever, without having him involved, because he's so knowledgeable about that universe, and he basically created from the ground up. He created the foundation. So if they ever do get the Silmarillion or something like that down the road, then I'm sure that they will like throw piles of money at Peter Jackson just to, be like Steven Spielberg, just be an executive producer on one of the big films like Jurassic World, which, like, once again in that movie that pisses me off, because Steven Spielberg should be at least producing that film. He's executive producing 20 different films. He just stamps his name there, and then he says, "Oh, I made, I wrote these few little letters on this page, and then I'm executive producer." So I'm not stamping on Steven. I think he's a great director, but I really think he'd be more involved in this. I think he'd be like a producer or something. Like, you don't see Colin Trevorrow's name up there when they say, when they make the Jurassic World trailer, saying, "Oh, Jurassic World," and then it's like executive producer Steven Spielberg. Like, they know they're milking the Spielberg name on screen just to get people to come back into the theaters to watch Jurassic Park, whatever. But getting back to the Hobbit, like, I really think they will bring Peter Jackson back if they ever do patch things up with the Tolkien estate, which I'm really doubting it could take a while. I'm just going to say that now. So, for all those news sites out there, stop fucking it up. Stop running with this, because I really don't think we'll see Peter Jackson return to direct. He might, if they ever do patch things up, then he'll produce and maybe co-write at the most. So, stop fucking playing with it. It's pissing me off. Because it's going to be at least 10 years before we see another film. Unless Warner Brothers really pulls something out of their ass just so they can continue this universe. But like all universes, they eventually end. But with the Silmarillion, that's like a gold mine, because you can make 2 or 3 trilogies out of that movie. And you can make TV shows possibly. I don't think TV shows, but movies too. But so, like, all news sites, stop running with this. I know when I first saw it last night, it's like, I guarantee you we're gonna see news sites come in tomorrow running with this. A bunch of it saying that Ian McKellen believes we'll see more films. I think we will see more films, unless there's something I don't know. Obviously, I don't know executive producers or anybody at Warner's or Wingnut Films or whatever. Wingnut's production company. It's Peter Jackson's production company. So I don't know. Like, I just don't like they're running with this, because it's really bringing hopes up. A lot of people have been screaming for the Silmarillion, but unless they're willing to go all the way to Christopher Tolkien's house and scream at him to give the rights to Warner's, it's never going to happen, at least within the next 10 years, at least until he's dead. No offense to him. So I'm just stating the facts as I see them. So, like I said, please don't be... I wish actors would make these kind of comments, because I'm sure Peter Jackson already knows this already. It's like, "Oh, Ian, why the hell did you say that?" Like, I'm sure at some point we'll get them, but then Warner's is going to be screaming at me to go back and be involved in maybe 6-7 years. I don't know, but if they ever do get things patched up, I'm just trying to round this out. So I do think that at some point they will make more films. I just don't like that Ian did this. Like, unless Ian knows something I don't know, like I said before, I don't know any people within their production companies or whatever, so that maybe they have a secret plan of some sort, but I just didn't like that. I don't like how people are running with this. But moving on, there was a clip released that I saw this morning. I really liked it, but I also didn't like that they released it. It's basically a scene where Galadriel, if you remember correctly, Gandalf sent Radagast in the desolation of Smaug to go get Galadriel to back him up if Gandalf is unable to take on or hold back the evil force within Dol Guldur, and obviously he's not. But this scene shows it's a cool scene. I must say, it's still a great scene, but it opens up with nighttime in Doggle Door, and you can obviously see someone white walking down these stairs, and it ends up being Galadriel holding Gandalf's body, and then all you hear is like a 12. Like, how do you explain this? Do you remember the prologue from the Fellowship of the Ring where they're explaining, oh, these rings for the dwarves, these rings for the elves, and so on and so forth? This is basically what happens. It pans around, and Sauron is reciting this. I think it was, how many rings was it? 3 rings or 2 rings for the Elven Kings and 9 for the so he recited this up until the point where it pans around to Galadriel, and he says 9 for the mortal men doomed to die. And then these kind of ghostly appearances come from around her, and they're kind of walking down these stairs to kind of surround her, and it's the Nazgul, it's a 9, but they're more in their corporeal form, what they used to look like when they were men. And then she kind of like, oh, holy shit. And then Sauron basically tells her off, saying, you're one person, we're an army. And then she says, oh, I'm not alone. And then Elrond walks in with his sword and his battle gear, and it was fucking awesome. And then it pans around again, and you see Saruman. And Saruman walks, they kind of surround, it's like we're here to help you. And Saruman says, do you need assistance, my lady? And then Elrond says to Sauron, you should have stayed dead. And he starts attacking the Nazgul, or the corporeal forms, whatever you want to call them. And then you see Saruman uses staff, and he starts spinning around, and he takes out. Oh, it was an awesome scene. It's a scene that I never thought I would actually see ever. The White Council going against Sauron, and it's a scene that I wish I would have never seen in the first place. Because it's funny, I was talking to someone on the One Ring, I think it was on the One Ring. Yeah, I had made a comment this morning saying, even though I love this scene, I wish they wouldn't have shown it. And then someone gets back saying, there's more to the scene than meets the eye. And then I still posted, on the honor. It's like, even though knowing that the White Council was actually going to make an appearance and they were going to go up against Sauron was enough for me to hear rather than having to see in this scene. And then I was like, yeah, I love it. And it's my own personal opinion. I just didn't like that they did that. They released that. It almost reminded me, reminiscent of the Amazing Spider-Man, showing some of the biggest scenes, and then showing so many scenes from the movie. Obviously, if you do know that, like from the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they showed a lot of scenes on TV, and they probably released 20 TV spots, and you could literally patch the movie together just by the TV spots because they released so many. So that kind of reminded me of that. It's like, you shouldn't have shown that. Yeah, I think you've shown enough from I think they've released 3 or 4 TV spots, and they weren't big spots. They're mostly like recycled images and spots that we'd already seen from the trailers, and that's okay, but I just didn't like to release this because this is like a very special scene to me. I never thought that I would actually see the White Council, being it's very hard, obviously, for if you don't already know, like Galadriel can do a lot of her power things, but Christopher Lee, who obviously is he's in his high 80s, we would never expected him to be in this film. Really throwing his staff around and kicking some ass, and that's why I found it very special because you can see all the battle scenes, but it's those scenes are almost should have been in the extended edition of the film. I think this might be an extended edition. We'll have to see, but of seeing Sauron actually take on, see how their powers go up against each other. It's almost like Dumbledore going against seeing Dumbledore go up against what's his name? The Dark Lord, whatever. In I think the Hobbit, one of the Harry Potter movies, seeing him actually go 1-to-1 with him. So it's one of those scenes that really is really special. I wish they wouldn't have released it. It really hurts me because I would have liked to see that, not knowing that, because I know they would, but not knowing what would transpire in the scene and being a very big surprise for me. So. Like I'm not sure if if you agree with me or not. Like you must get what I'm getting to about this scene. I just didn't like they released it, and it was a very cool scene that I don't think we've actually seen involving the White Council and them going directly against Sauron and going against the Nine and see how much power they actually do have. So yeah, that's the only thing I love the scene. I just wish they wouldn't have released it personally. I'm sure you could probably YouTube it, like I Am Not Alone, The Hobbit, and like a photo of Galadriel will come up, and then you click on it and just watch the video. It's a cool video, but still, once again, didn't like that they released that part. Like I couldn't have cared if they released a little more of the armies, like showing a little bit of the dwarves, but showing this was a little too much for me. But other than that, guys, that was my own kind of rant about Ian McKellen's whole quoting and talking about future movies, and then also talking about this scene, this clip that was released. I think it was the last day or so they released it. So other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it very much, please subscribe somewhere down there, or like. I do lots of videos relating to the Hobbit. I'll probably Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, the Marvel, DC, Cinematic Universe, stuff like that. Also, I'm going to be watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'm hoping I'll be able to make another video. Like yeah. So once again, guys, I should have another video up on, probably on Monday. What day is it today? God sakes, I never know what the day is ever. Like, it's such a mess. It is Tuesday today, so I'm hoping I'll have a video up probably on Thursday, give or take. We'll see. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video and this kind of rant on about Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and the future of Middle Earth, as we all love this Middle Earth so very much. Thank you very much, and peace out.